Hello, and welcome to this week's episode of Geek-Minded Fools. My name's Graham.
And I'm Scott.
As usual, we'll kick off with a visit to Scott in the monkey farm.
Hey, partners, it's time to see what Scott's doing down on his monkey farm.
Welcome once again, sir, to the monkey farm.
Thank you.
Do come inside, and as always, keep your hands to yourself.
I know the rules by now.
You do know the rules by now, indeed. And fortunately, I've not had to put the straitjacket on you again this week. Right, what sort of news, goodness have I got for you this week? I've got some Resident Evil news, because I love Resident Evil, mate.
You do.
I've got some news about two titans of the screen.
Oh.
Yeah, oh, you like that? Yeah.
Remember the Titans.
Remember the Titans. I've got some Friday the 13th news, just because. Because. And some other little tidbits for you. So I'm going to go straight off with Resident Evil news. The head of the Resident Evil team, if you like, Capcom's brilliantly named Development Division 1.
Oh.
I like them. The president, Jun Takuchi. Apologies, Jun, if I've pronounced that incorrectly.
Excellent Scrabble score.
An amazing Scrabble score. They have just come out basically and said that for the next Resident Evil games, they're going to be concentrating pretty much solely on VR. So virtual reality, which I can take or leave, really.
No interest. I'm no current gamer.
No.
But I've always maintained virtual reality. I like to sit there and just, sit comfortably and twiddle my thumbs on a controller. So.
Now, I agree with you completely. The only thing that kind of sways me a little bit is that they're going to concentrate on one particular gaming franchise, and this is the Resident Evil franchise, which, as you may or may not know, is my favourite game of all time, Resident Evil. It is the greatest game. The first one is the greatest game ever made on any console ever, in my opinion.
Okay. You surprised me.
I mean, you look at it now, and it's not great. The controls are all fucking busted and broken, but when that first came out, it did exactly what it said it was going to do. It absolutely petrified me, and it's the closest thing that we had gaming wise to a great Romero movie.
Oh, okay.
So well done them for that. Maybe a little bit too late for me to be congratulating them after the past few absolute fuck ups they've made with Resident Evil. But at E3 earlier this year in June, Capcom unveiled a little demo called the Kitchen Demo. Now, no one has seen this demo. No one's seen footage of it. The only footage that's out there is some footage of a woman actually playing the demo. If you get a chance, just have a look online. Just type in E3 Kitchen Demo and just have a look at how she reacts to what she's seeing. We don't know what she's seeing, but
obviously you don't actually see.
You don't know what
she's
seeing. You see her, and she is absolutely petrified. So that bodes well for the next step in the Resident Evil.
And why is
evolution.
It called the Kitchen Demo? Is it because she's washing up? While she's
I'd imagine that's what it is.
Oh, sorry everyone. I apologise.
Should we move on? I think so.
It was an easy gag.
You may have your hands in your pockets, but you're never well behaved, are you? Right, in 2020, which for the uninitiated is 5 years away.
It is. Well,
actually, that's probably a bit. It's about 4 and a bit years, isn't it? So, what are we? 20? We're 2015, aren't we?
Yeah, well done.
I just had to double check that.
Yeah. Okay.
Titans of the screen will collide. We get to see King Kong versus Godzilla.
We do.
Frankly, could not be any less excited. To be honest,
the current thing is who are you supporting, isn't it? Who are you shouting for?
Mine will always be Godzilla, really.
So you want to be King Kong?
Yeah,
we're at odds!
We are at odds. That'll be a good
Already.
one. That'll be a good one. That'll be a good one for us to go see together in 2020.
Indeed.
If we're both still shuffling around on this
with
planet.
With our scarves and our rattles.
Indeed. So obviously it's being handled by Legendary Pictures, who have got an absolutely great track record, I think, with movies. Obviously had their hands in the Nolan Batman franchise, and God knows what else they've done. A hell of a lot of good shit they've done. So hopefully they don't cock it up. I mean, I'm not so sure we need to have a King Kong versus Godzilla movie, but why not, eh? Go for it. Let's see how they do. It can't be any worse than some of the other iterations we've had of Godzilla.
Can't be worse than Pacific Rim.
Pacific Rim, yeah. That was a fucking terrible
Pacific
film.
Rimming.
I just didn't get that at all, that film.
It was just bizarre, wasn't it?
Didn't get it at all.
Yeah.
Let's not talk about that.
Okay, I apologise.
That's awful. Right, have you heard of a company called Gun Media?
No.
And neither have I. Until the other day, when a little alert popped up on Facebook or YouTube or wherever it was I happened to have been pretending to look while I was actually watching porn on my phone.
Oh, yes.
There is going to be, as I did report months back, a Friday the 13th computer game.
Yes.
And it is cleverly titled Friday the 13th, The Game.
Hey.
I like what they've done there. They've thought it
indeed.
through. Good news is, Gun Media have managed to secure Kane Hodder, who is my favourite of the Jasons. He's a big, big boy, and he's probably the reason why I love the character as much, because he gave Jason the whole... well, obviously stole it from your boy, Michael Myers. He gave him the proper the head cock move and the
the head cock.
The head cock move and the brilliant kind of just...
with the balls in the eyes.
The ball, yeah, no, that's called the Roman helmet. We all know that. Balls in the eyes, cock down the nose. I'm going to gladiator this bitch. I bet he was gladiator.
You mean a cocking of the head?
A cocking of the head, yes. And also as well, he does this amazing thing where he just stands very still and you just see him breathing and his shoulders rising. It just gives the characters this amazing gravitas. Tom Savini also involved.
Cool.
Tom Savini, for the uninitiated, is probably another great reason why I watch horror movies. He's the man who makes the gore.
Horror makeup.
He is indeed.
Aficionado, yes.
So he'll obviously be consulting with the kills, I would imagine, and saying, yeah, well, this is how a head comes off and this is how you lop an arm off. The company Gun Media are trying to raise $700,000 on Kickstarter for what is being touted as a 7-on-1 asymmetrical multiplayer. Again, for the uninitiated, an asymmetrical multiplayer is, well, literally it's one person versus 7 others. So it's an 8-player game. One person will play Jason. The other 7 will have to get away from Jason.
Have you been online to look at what the rewards are?
I have, indeed.
Go on.
Some of them are pretty good, actually. They are. You can get, obviously, your name in the credits and things like that. Obviously, with all the Kickstarter things, or a majority of them anyway, you pay X amount, don't you, to get the better reward.
Of course.
And right up there with like the high cost investment, if you like, you can get yourself in the game and be one of the kills, which I would love to do. I would absolutely love to be part of the game.
If only you had 20 grand like
Only
that.
I had $20,000, but unfortunately I haven't. What else have I got?
Are you going to invest
for you?
on any level? Or?
Do you know what? I might well chuck, say, $20 at it, $25 or whatever the one of the lower end ones is, just to get a copy of the game, and
Sure.
because you do get your name in the credits.
Cool.
And I think that is quite cool. You and pretty much all our other listeners probably know by now how much I adore the Friday the 13th movies. So
I think we've gathered it. Yes.
Yeah. Is it the mask? Was the mask the giveaway? Is it the fact that I'm sat here with a machete juggling eyeballs? Is that a giveaway?
It's just the fact that I rarely have a conversation more than 5 minutes with you without you mentioning Friday the 13th in one form or another.
You are correct. You are correct. A couple of little final pieces this week. Pride and Prejudice and Zombies got a trailer.
Yeah, no interest.
This was a book that came out. Do you know what? I'm going to finish it there purely for the fact that I've got no fucking interest in it either. I wanted to mention it just purely for the fact that the trailer is appalling.
Yeah,
It doesn't. Now they did a movie
Stuff like that just annoys me. It annoys the shit out of me.
Yeah, they did a movie a few years back called Abraham Lincoln Vampire Hunter.
Yeah.
Brilliant. A lot of fun.
Yeah, it's decent.
A lot of fun.
Yeah.
But I don't get this. I don't get what the hook is. I mean, I fucking love zombies, don't get me wrong, but I'm not sure how the two fit together. It's not even funny to me.
No, I mean, to me, it's zombie fans being able to say, oh yeah, you know, you've taken something that's as far away from zombies as you can possibly get, you know, Pride and Prejudice, and added zombies into it. How cool is that? Because let's face it, everything is made better with zombies.
Well, of course.
And it's just like, you know, fuck off. Honestly, just no interest whatsoever.
No, me neither.
When I heard the book, I thought it was a ridiculous idea. When I heard it was being turned into a film, I thought it was an even more ridiculous idea.
I'm in complete agreement with you. Final little thing for this week, sir, is something that's going to make you a happy boy, I think.
Oh, okay.
So we obviously know now who's playing Spidey in the Captain America Civil War. It's a young actor called Tom Holland.
Yep.
Who, you know, he looks okay to me. He looks the part. He is going to be playing the younger iteration, obviously, of Parker, isn't he? What, 15?
Yeah.
15
the high
years old?
school era.
The high school era.
Pretty much, you know, how Peter was when he got his powers.
Indeed. And the good news is we are going to get, obviously, a brand new costume.
Yes.
But they have said, and this is that I wrote a few notes for this week's Monkey Farm just because I wanted to get this bit of news right for you.
You mean you don't normally write notes?
No, normally it's all off the top of my head. It's all off the top of my head, honest. And I just want to read you what I've written of my notes because I think the notes speak for themselves. Stumpy Legs Retro Spider.
Nice.
So apparently he's going to have that beautiful stumpy-legged spider on his back
The
piece
red
now.
spider on the back.
Yeah, which I love. That to me says Spider-Man. That's the Spider-Man that drew me in. When I was a small boy, and
it's an iconic logo, isn't it?
It is indeed. So that's good news, and it looks. I mean, let's put it this way. Thus far, the MCU, the Marvel Cinematic Universe, have not steered us wrong, have they? Would you say, in fairness, they've not really made one wrong move, really, have they?
Iron Man 2 wasn't great.
All right, I'll give you that. Yeah, you are correct. 1 out of X amount of movies, not bad.
Absolutely. 1
So,
out of 12.
1 out of 12. So, fingers crossed, Captain America Civil War will be equally as good as its two predecessors. And hopefully Tom Holland will wear the suit with pride.
Excellent.
And there you go, sir. That's the Monkey Farm. You've been very well behaved this week. You didn't talk over me. You didn't butt in. And well done.
And I'm buying something. I actually want one of these.
You can have that on me.
Oh, God bless you.
I know. For those who obviously can't see, which is all of you, that was a
Spider-Man butt plug.
It's not that kind of a shop, really. It's a half-open bag of horse chestnuts. Now leave.
Of horse tranquilizer.
Horse tranquilizer nuts. Get out of my shop immediately.
I'll be on my way. Thank you, sir.
Goodbye.
And now we shall move on to this week's Quick Hits.
Quick Hits.
And first this week is me. And my Quick Hit this week, I've gone back to comics. It's a fantastic comic series. Almost following on from our main topic of a few episodes ago, when we did Last Man on Earth.
Okay.
And this was a great comic series called Why the Last Man.
Yeah, I have the first issue, the first book, the first collected.
The first trade paperback.
There we go.
Ran for 60 issues, written by Brian K. Vaughan, and with art all the way through by Pia Guerra. What effectively happens in this story is, before it starts, everybody with a Y chromosome dies, which effectively means all men, but also any animal or anything with a Y chromosome literally drops dead. And this apparently took place on July the 17th, 2002, which was when the series started.
Okay.
I say everyone with a Y chromosome died. Everyone with a Y chromosome but 2 died. The first being a young amateur escape artist, believe it or not, by the name of Yorick Brown, who is obviously the Y of the title. And the other one was his pet capuchin monkey, which was rather brilliantly called Ampersand.
That's a great name. That's better than Marcel.
Yes,
because he was a capuchin, wasn't he, as well?
Yes, he was capuchin, yes. So effectively, with virtually every man on the planet suddenly dropping dead, humanity obviously faced extinction, and so society plunged into total chaos.
As it would with no men around.
We all know. He said that, everyone. We
all know women are the stronger sex.
They certainly are. My wife is anyway. Anyway, fortunately, Yorick's mother is a member of the American Congress, and so she appoints a woman called Agent 357 to protect Yorick, because obviously Yorick is now a very valuable asset, and suddenly there are a lot of people wanting a piece of Yorick, whether it's fascist women's group wanting to kill him because they then will know that women have finally taken over the world, as they always believe they would, or whether it's women wanting to procreate with him and protect him and experiment on him and doing various things. Also, there's a geneticist called Dr. Alison Mann who wants to use Yorick to find out what it was about him that led him to survive. And so they travel to her lab in Boston, but it's been damaged in sort of some form of riot. So what they have to do is travel to her other lab, which is in San Francisco, right over the other side of the country. So effectively, they have to travel all the way across the country, and so it pretty much becomes a road movie. It is then travelling through this very changed society. Sometimes Yorick obviously has to pretend he's a woman in order to survive in various dodgy scenarios. But it also sees them end up going to Australia, Japan, and France as well. And as I say, various people want a piece of Yorick, and they run into these people along the way, and obviously there's various mishaps and what have you. It's a fantastic story. As I say, it ran for 60 issues, therefore it's available in 10 volumes of trade paperbacks. great art, beautifully written, a really entertaining story, and I have to say, a hugely satisfying ending.
Yeah.
A bit of a tearjerker as well. Is what I think it's the penultimate issue where something happens that I'll admit I was in absolute floods of tears.
Oh, bless you.
This story will touch you. It has an amazing emotional resonance, and there's a bit in the penultimate issue, but the final issue is just wonderful. It's just absolutely fantastic. News has just come out that it's also currently in development to be a TV show on FX channel.
That's right, because New Line optioned it, didn't it?
That's
today
right.
For a film, like about 10 years ago.
It was in development hell for a while. It was
Yeah.
kicking around and no one quite knew what to do with it, but apparently FX are picking it up and we can expect to see it as a TV show.
I think a lot of things are going to go that way in the future now, aren't they? But, I mean, I think it's become easier for people to make
Definitely
TV
does
shows,
seem
doesn't
to
it?
be the future,
So,
isn't it, for a lot of these franchises.
I think it's a wise way to go with something like that, because you're never going to do it justice
This is
in
it,
2 hours.
because this is very much chaptered storytelling,
Yeah.
and therefore you couldn't do it justice in a film. It would have to be 5 films, and therefore you're having to commit to the long haul. Whereas to bung it out as a TV show, absolutely fantastic. So Why the Last Man by Brian K. Vaughan and Pia Guerra. Do check it out because it is well worth it. A great comic series.
Excellent stuff, sir. Right, my turn. And I've gone with the comic as well.
Oh, look at us!
But you're not going to like it.
Oh, right then.
I think you probably already know what it is by me saying you're not going to like it.
No, I don't. Go on.
I have gone for something that I had never read before, but have just recently read and absolutely stonkingly loved it, apart from maybe the last 3 or 4 pages. And that is Civil War.
Oh.
Yeah, I know. You're not a fan, are you? Because and we'll explain, obviously, in a moment.
To say I'm not, there's one instant in it that I absolutely hate, but I will step back because this is your quick hit.
So this is collecting Civil War numbers 1 to 7, which were written by our mate, Mark Miller.
Mark Miller, yes.
Who we know very well now.
Well...
or will do, next...
We met him once.
And he knows us very well.
In a pub.
He ripped my kick-ass.
He did.
Yeah, he did indeed. By accident, of course.
And he kicked your rip ass.
He did kick my rip ass. Beautifully illustrated by Steve McNiven.
Steve McNiven, indeed.
Who comes off of titles such as the Marvel Knights and New Avengers and such other beauties, which you will know a lot more about than I do.
Indeed.
But back to the...
Very good artist. Very clear, concise artist.
Really beautiful work.
Sort of very realistic artist rather than comic booky.
Yeah, very much so. I mean, there's one particular panel in here, which is it's just a full-page panel of, I believe it's Vulture and another supervillain who have been kind of put in chains and they've just been badly beaten. And it just looks like there's some severe violence has gone on before they've been chained up.
Yeah.
The story itself basically is a huge battle occurs between some supervillains and creates a bit of a nasty episode, ultimately... meaning that lots and lots of what's the word I'm looking for? Civilians. Thank you. I don't often talk about civilians, you see, because I'm so high above them. Apart from obviously our listeners. Yeah, there's a lot of what I can't get my words today. Damage, collateral damage, as it were.
Indeed.
So therefore, the powers that be decide that they're going to put into action what they call the Superhero Registration Act.
Yes.
Meaning that all masked and caped superheroes and individuals now have to register, and I suppose kind of like the sex offenders list, but for superheroes. Or maybe not like that at all.
So effectively, they have to reveal to the authorities their secret identities.
They do indeed.
Yes.
Now you've got one camp who's obviously in favour, and one camp who is against.
Very much against.
So Iron Man very much in favour.
Yep.
Steve Rogers, Captain America, he no like.
No.
He does not want to play. So a battle ensues. Or a civil war.
Oh, I see what they've done there.
Now, I can understand the point in this that actually narks you so much, because I felt it was a little bit annoying also. Now, spoilers here, guys. This is going to be a big part of the next Captain America movie, okay? It being called Captain America Civil War.
This particular part of the storyline.
Yeah.
Although, I have to admit that when Captain America Civil War was first announced, we did spoil this during the Monkey Farm, I believe it was.
We did. So this is a spoiler of a spoiler of a spoiler, I suppose, if you like. There is a particular moment where Spidey unmasks. In fact, he is the first to unmask himself to...
Iron Man convinces Peter Parker that it would be a massive coup for them that a superhero as high profile as Spider-Man were to unmask in a press conference. So at the end of issue 2, he does.
He does unmask. It works really well in the context of the book, but in the grander scheme of things, in the universe itself, in the comic book universe, it was a real bum note, wasn't it? It was not a clever move, I don't think.
Well, as you and I have had many conversations about this, but one thing Peter has always realised, alongside the whole with great power comes great responsibility, is the fact that his superhero identity, were that ever to become public, it would put at risk everybody that he loves and cares about. And that's why there were several stories in Spider-Man's history where people almost found out his secret identity, and he went to great pains to protect this, even at very low levels.
Yeah.
And so it has always been an integral part of the character that he realises that anybody knowing he's Spider-Man puts a massive target on and bearing in mind at this point he was married, Aunt May was around, and so there was a lot of people that he cared about who could have been put at risk.
Yeah.
And so it flew completely against everything the character has ever stood for him to unmask.
Yeah.
And for it to be nothing more than Tony Stark saying, do you know what, Peter, it'd be a really good idea for somebody as high profile as you to take your mask off to prove that it can be done.
Risk your family and your
precisely.
friends.
Pete would have just said, no, sorry, I have too much at stake.
Yeah.
He would just say, yeah, go on then, I'll do it. And of course what this then did was, as we knew would happen, put a target on his back and his family's back, which led to the Kingpin sending snipers after Peter. They shot at Peter, missed Peter, hit Aunt May. Aunt May was at death's door. That led to the One More Day storyline, which is Peter, in order to save Aunt May, doing a deal with Mephisto, whereby Mephisto saves Aunt May, but that means that Peter and MJ's marriage, wedding, everything is completely erased from history. And therefore they completely retcon the character. And therefore, to me, the whole reason for doing this was because Joe Quesada didn't want Peter and MJ to be married anymore. Yeah. And therefore they fucked massively. And so much so that, as I previously said, I walked away from Spider-Man comics. I was so fucking angry. But they did this unmasking simply to allow them to do that. Yeah. And therefore I will forever hate this series because of it. Even though there's some really nice moments in there, to me, you say to me Civil War, and the first thing I think of is Peter did the most ridiculous thing. He did something that was so against the character of Spider-Man that he rendered the whole thing.
Yeah, and that for me is the reason why I am happy.
But I apologise for jumping over your quick hitch.
No. That's no. I wanted you to. This is why I want you to actually tell the listeners what came off the back of just this one little book, just these seven issues of a much grander thing. But with that said, as you said just a second ago, there are some amazing moments in this book. There are some really knockdown, drag-out brawls with some of the best superheroes and in the business, as it were. Mm-hmm. There are some really, really amazing pieces of artwork, and ultimately, on top of all of this, it's really well scripted. Mm-hmm. It's brilliantly, brilliantly written. You would do yourself a disservice if you didn't read it, I think. Regardless of the fact that it has got some moments that did kind of have a trickle-down effect that, as you've just heard, did annoy certain Marvel fans. It is a great book, and it does deserve its place, I think, in comic book lore. So that's Civil War.
I mean, one thing that I did enjoy about it was, much like the actual American Civil War, it split families.
Yes.
In as much as on Captain America's side, you had Sue Storm, the Invisible Woman.
That's right, yeah.
But on Tony Stark's side, you had Reed Richards, Mr. Fantastic. So it's actually a married couple from the Fantastic Four were split over this, and literally,
that portion of the book is
led to
particularly
divorce.
well done.
It was very well done.
Really, really well done. And there's some amazing frames throughout these books. One of my particular favourites is Spidey delivering an amazing kick to Reed Richards, just going into his neck, and Reed, not so much worried about the fight that's ensuing, but more amazed at Spider-Man's skills. I believe he says, amazing. And then the other speech bubble just has got Spidey just saying, spectacular. Which I think is brilliant. So yeah, that's Civil War. Mark Millar, Stephen McNiven. A good book. Read it, if you dare.
Or don't.
Or do.
Thank you, sir.
You're welcome.
And now we shall move on to this week's main topic.
When they got the ball, they won't drop it. The Geek-Minded fools discuss the main topic.
Right, sir, this week, for our main topic...
Yes?
I've got something spooktacular.
Do you want to see something really scary?
Not again. Right, as we all well know, Halloween is just around the corner, is it not?
It is.
It is. If all's gone well and we haven't cocked up with the refrigerator time machine, we should be sitting just before Halloween with this episode.
Indeed, yes.
Excellent. Okay, so what we decided to do was let us pick 10 of the scariest movies for our listeners to
Proper
watch
scary films.
during Halloween.
Yes. Recommendations that we think films that people should be watching on Halloween.
These should be the 10 Halloween movies, or the 10 scary movies that you need to see before you die.
Now,
Which could occur on Halloween, you never know.
now bear in mind, obviously, we've discussed Halloween in the past, so I'm assuming we're removing that.
That's the rule.
The
rule is, these are the 10 scariest Halloween movies. Okay, 10 scariest movies you need to see before you die, to watch during Halloween, without mentioning the movie. Halloween.
Okay.
That's what the episode's going to be called.
Excellent. I like the cut of your jib.
So with that in mind, would you like to go first, sir?
Shall I?
Should we go 1, 1, 1, 1?
That's probably a very good idea.
Well, I tell you what, you kick off.
Okay.
All right.
I've chosen mine based not on necessarily they're the greatest horror movies, but simply to me, they're movies with just bloody good scares in them, sort of a good atmospheric, scary movie.
That's because I've chosen mine over how much poo they made me do in my pants when I saw them.
That's lovely.
Yeah, and I've kept each pair of pants from each time I've watched it. I haven't really.
Do they all have a poo rating?
They have got a poo rating.
That's lovely.
Each of my movies are going to get a poo rating. All right.
Right, I'm going to kick off with a great scary movie. John Carpenter's The Thing.
Perfect.
1982. Again, John Carpenter, director of Halloween, so of course I'm kind of getting a bit in there from him.
You are.
Obviously a remake of The Thing from Another World.
Indeed.
The 50s sci-fi classic. Kurt Russell and a fantastic cast are in an Antarctic research station when a dog turns up.
A dog, you say?
A dog.
A dog.
Chased by a helicopter, which is it the Norwegians?
Tis. I believe they are Norwegians.
The Norwegians.
They are the Norwegians.
And
it's either that or they're Swedish, one of the two.
one of those.
Yeah.
Scandinavian.
Scandos, isn't they?
Yeah, that'll do. And effectively, they rescue this dog, and the helicopter ends up crashing, and they go back to the Norwegians research centre and find a crashed spaceship.
Particularly amazingly huge.
Absolutely. A UFO that's buried in the ice, and apparently something has been taken out of it.
Uh-oh.
And it turns out that the reason the dog was being chased and shot was because the dog had actually been infected by the alien. And the alien parasite is a thing that takes over somebody and replicates them so that they look exactly like whatever they're replicating. So it could be a dog or it could be a person. This thing just wreaks havoc.
It does indeed.
Across. So not only do you have the fact that you never know who is potentially the bad guy throughout the whole thing, but you've got the fact that there's this isolation.
Yeah.
The fact that they're in Antarctica, middle of nowhere, no way to get away. And
man, it looks cold as well.
Absolutely, but just in terms of tension, and this is it, and there's some great reveal moments, some great shock moments, great surprise moments, but just the tension that runs throughout it, very, very scary. Great performances across the board and a cracking ending.
Yeah, and I must say, bar none, I think one of my favourite movie taglines of all time.
Go on.
Man is the warmest place to hide.
That's true, yes.
It's a great... Actually, thinking about it, it's a little bit sexy, isn't it? That
All right.
I've thought about that in the wrong way, haven't I?
Yeah, very much so. But yeah, one of those ones, if you were to put that on, turn all the lights out and watch that, I guarantee by halfway through, you'll be absolutely pooping yourself. So, poo score, what are we giving it? Out of 5, out of 10?
Tell you what, let's go out of 5, I think.
Out of 5.
Otherwise this room's going to be full of shit.
Okay, The Thing gets a very, very solid, if you pardon the expression.
What sort of movement are you giving it?
Solid 4 out of 5 poos.
Nice. Excellent score system as well.
Excrement
score system. We like that a lot. Right, okay. So, just for the listeners as well, I am not doing this in any particular order, my ones, and I would hope you are not either.
No, me neither.
But please do take note of the poo scores so you can top them up at the end. I don't know. All right, I'm going to stay in the same year as you, sir. I'm going to go for 1982 as well.
I know what it is.
Do you know what it is? I'm going to go with some stories from the Masters of Terror and the Macabre, Creepshow.
Yes.
Creepshow is probably one of my earliest memories, I think, of having a video that I used to watch over and over again that I never understood.
Yes.
Because obviously when this came out, I was 6? And I vividly remember us having this on VHS.
Yep.
And it's basically a collection of little short stories, very much along the lines of the old-fashioned EC comics.
EC comics, yeah.
Which were always called things like Ghastly Tales of Terror, and ultimately what would happen years and years and years later, you'd have things like Tales from the Crypt, wouldn't you, which was a TV show. Yep. This is kind of the precursor to Tales from the Crypt.
An anthology.
An anthology collection indeed, sir. So, yeah, as I said at the top there, two macabre masters, writer Stephen King and director George Romero, conjure up 5 amazingly, beautifully
Did he drop the A for this one?
Oh, sorry, did I say George Romero?
You did.
It's because he and I are like that. I don't refer to him as George Andrew Romero anymore. It's just George, or Romero if I want him to come quickly.
Romy.
Yeah. So this is 5, as it says on the back of the box here, 5 shocking yarns. They are all amazingly good stories as well.
Fantastic, isn't it?
Can you remember them all?
Oh, okay. Is the first one? Is it Father's Day?
Yes,
first
well
one?
done. Starring.
Ted Danson's
Ted
in that
Danson,
one,
Ted Danson, put your
Where's
hand
my
over
cake?
That's it. That's the one. Then next up you have.
Oh God!
Doesn't matter if you don't do them in order, but it'd be interesting to see if you do remember them.
What's the Stephen King one called? The
Stephen King one is called.
What's his name?
I believe it's the Tragic Tale of. Go on, see if you can remember his name.
I can't. Go on.
No, it's The Lonesome Death of Geordie Verrill.
Geordie
and he
Verrill,
basically is Stephen King plays a farmer, doesn't he? And he finds a bit of a meteorite. And this meteorite covers him in
basically grass
and moss, isn't it? Yes, indeed.
What's the one with the clean freak who has all the cockroaches come out in his?
That is the one that I mean, you can see what I'm doing. I'm itching thinking about it. That is called They're Creeping Up on You.
Yes.
And that's with a fantastic actor called E.G. Marshall, who plays a character called Upson Pratt. And he is basically just an OCD clean freak, isn't he? He won't allow any bit of dust or anything into his apartment. And his apartment becomes overrun with really icky cockroaches.
As does he.
As does he, indeed. But let's not give away too much.
No, sorry. I apologise.
Other segments in the film are The Crate and Something to Tide You Over. Yes. The Crate featured an amazing special
Something
effect.
to Tide You Over. That's the Ted Danson one.
That is the Ted Danson one. Yeah, Father's Day was Ed Harris.
That's right. Yes.
Not Ted Danson. So apologies for that, getting that wrong at the beginning. The Ted Danson one also is well notable for a relatively serious role for Leslie Nielsen.
Leslie Nielsen, yes, indeed.
Who we all better know now as Frank Drebin in The Naked Gun. But I mean, people forget he was a serious actor, wasn't he?
He was.
You know, with Airport 77 and things like that. And
he only really stumbled into the comedy stuff with the Airplane movies, wasn't he?
And then Police Story, wasn't it? After that,
right.
so yeah. But yeah, the
Police Squad.
Sorry, what's Police Story? That's Jackie Chan, isn't it? God, it's all gone rumble in the Bronx now. Creepshow.
Back to the stories.
Creepshow, absolutely amazing anthology. I mean, it's only about an hour and a half, hour and 45 minutes long, but I can't think of anything better than a big bowl of popcorn, all the lights out, Creepshow on TV, and the wind howling outside. It is a great scary
My wife
movie.
will love you for that because
Really?
she adores Creepshow. Now, bear in mind
I
that
never knew that.
she's a year older than you.
Yeah.
But much like you, your dad obviously had all the pirates,
Yeah.
and therefore you would watch stuff perhaps you shouldn't.
Yeah.
She came from the other side where her dad and mum worked so much that her dad would just pick up videos from the video store. I mean, my wife famously remembers watching Carrie when she was 5.
Yeah.
When they were way too young, they watched all the horror films, and therefore she just absolutely adores Creepshow.
Because she's got excellent taste.
She certainly has. She married me.
Well, there is that. She's got some taste. So yeah, Creepshow, 1982, brilliant. Poometer,
Go on.
I'm going to give it a 3 because it's more fun than it is scary, but it still has got some very scary
There
moments.
are some laughs in it, but there's some proper disturbing bits.
There are indeed. So yes, that's
What's the name of the one with the cockroaches?
it's called They're Creeping Up on You.
Yes.
Does
Now
it-
that is really horrible. That's very disturbing.
And just as a little added fact for you, all the cockroaches used in it are obviously real cockroaches because this is pre-CGI. And if you get a chance, go out and buy the DVD, because there's a great little special feature on it where you see how they made that particular segment, and you just watch all the people who are involved in it and their faces going, and most notably as well, E.G. Marshall, who plays the character Upson Pratt, was petrified of cockroaches.
Oh, really?
Brilliant, let's cast him.
Excellent.
So there you
Excellent
go.
choice of role. Good work, sir. Right, my next one is a Spanish horror film.
Ay, por Dios!
Yeah, what he said. Rec, which is obviously has little square brackets around it because it's short for record.
It is short for record, even in Spanish.
Indeed, yes. Now, it tells the story of a female journalist and her camera crew who decided to do a documentary about the fire department.
The Bombarderos.
Yes, and so start off just a normal night at the fire department, but then suddenly they get called to an apartment block where there's some strange goings on, and they all go in there and they're going around filming, and people have suddenly started developing almost zombie-like characteristics.
Yeah.
And suddenly the whole building gets quarantined and people realise that this is actually something quite serious, and so they all get locked in, and it is all told from the handheld camera, so it's something that's filmed as it's happening rather than a film filming around itself. And it's the various characters as they find people in their apartments, some of whom are infected, some of whom aren't, and how they survive, and culminating in a very scary, dark ending where she ends up in the apartment where it all started, where it originated.
Yes.
And
nicest thing about it is the film, the way it runs is we only see it as she sees it.
Yes.
So
precisely.
It's a very clever. It's a very clever take on the found footage
and
kind of thing.
But just hugely scary.
Yeah.
A lot of creeps, a lot of jumps.
Yeah.
In it, and just a really good scary film. Stay away from the sequels because 2 suddenly makes the whole thing about religion, and it's actually about demonic possession rather than anybody else, which kind of renders the whole thing ridiculous. Also, stay away from the American remake, Quarantine, with Jennifer Carpenter. But yeah, Rec, fantastic film. Make sure it's the Spanish version. A properly good scare. Again, turn the lights out, get your popcorn. You'll be wearing most of that popcorn before the film is finished.
Yeah, very much so.
Poo score, I would probably go 4 poos.
Okay. Just 4 poos?
Why?
4 poos and a bit of wee?
Okay, we'll go that. 4 poos and a bit of wee.
Alright. I mean, this is our score system. We can do whatever we want with it. Fuck it, you know?
Yeah.
I think it's a really scary film.
And a bit of sick in the back of the throat.
Oh yeah,
maybe.
definitely.
So,
maybe a little, tiny bit of vomit detritus. I thought it was a fucking petrifying film, and it does take a lot to scare me, it really does.
Yes.
Well, I'm going to stay in the same sort of ballpark. I'm going to go with what I consider to be a found footage classic.
Go on.
And I don't. Can I use the term classic? Let's find out if we can use the term classic for a movie that came out in 1999.
Yeah.
The Blair Witch Project.
Love it.
What a fucking amazing film.
And do you know what annoys me is the fact that we over here never experienced what the Americans felt, which is they thought it was real.
Yeah.
By the time it came over here, we all knew it wasn't real. We all knew that it was actors. But people still enjoyed it. But yet now it seems to have, people have sort of gone round the sort of half circle and are almost saying, oh yeah, it's shit because it isn't real. And it's like, yeah, but most scary films aren't real. You know, do you hate The Exorcist because it's not real? Of course you fucking don't. Yeah. And there seems to be an awful lot of hate. People seem to be hating on this unnecessarily because, like you, I can remember first watching this. Excuse me for saying it, but I remember us getting a pirate VHS of
As
it.
did I.
And
that made it more scary, didn't it?
And it was, yeah, exactly. The old crackly, and just loving it then, but you and I being very obsessed with all the background because, of course, they created this amazing background.
That
you had the Burkittsville 7, all this sort of thing, and all the documentaries.
Brilliant documentary called White Enamel that came out off the back of it, which was fucking petrifying.
I still have the book, the Blair Witch Project book. Yeah, but anyway, sorry, I'm jumping all over you.
It's not my show. It's our show. You know, you've seen these films as well. I'm going to go with what it says on the back of the box again. In October of 1994, 3 student filmmakers disappeared into the woods in Burkittsville, Maryland, while shooting a documentary. A year later, their footage was found. That's all you really need to know.
Absolutely.
If you haven't seen it by now, see it.
Yeah.
The best thing, I think, about this film is the fact that they didn't tell the cast what they were doing, and I think that's amazing.
Absolutely.
I genuinely do think that's a groundbreaking way to make a film.
They would make them sleep in the woods. They would wake up and there'd be bits of paper with their directions saying, right, today you're going to get up, you're going to pack your stuff and you're going to follow in this direction and then react to whatever you see. So they didn't know they were going to find all the stickmen hanging from the woods. And it's all of their reactions. And of course, they're cold, they're tired, so all of their reactions became rawer and rawer, and I just think it's an amazing film.
Just when they think they're sort of going to get some rest about 3 a.m, they've got the crew shaking the tents and then running off and things. It is a great film. It's probably what started a whole glut of found footage films, but this is the granddaddy of them all. I think this is it's a great movie. It's really well performed, albeit improvised for the most part.
Yeah. I mean, people did
criticise
the makers of this of ripping off the Last Broadcast a bit, didn't they?
They did, and I think it was...
Whereas this is the one that... I mean, Last Broadcast was just a found footage film.
Yeah.
Whereas this, for them to create the whole background and actually create a mythos going back 200 years...
Yeah.
Nothing like this has been done before, probably since.
Indeed, don't get me wrong, The Last Broadcast is a fabulous movie as well in its own right.
Yes.
But it's a very different movie.
Yeah.
It's a different story, and in fairness, it was made before The Blair Witch, but I don't think Merrick and all the other guys involved with The Blair Witch ripped it off at all. I really don't. But yeah, Blair Witch, 1999, Pooh score, I genuinely am going to go with a full 5 out of 5 poos for this, because it was fucking petrifying when I first saw it.
Even though we knew that it wasn't, it plays like it's real. You react like it's real because their reactions are so genuine.
16 odd years ago, we didn't have movies like this.
No.
Now they're 10 a penny, but 16 years ago, this was a massive 5 poos out of 5.
I've got the comics as well.
Yeah, so I've still got them. Image comics with the glow in the dark hands on them.
Yes, indeed. The limited edition ones. Yeah,
that's my nest egg one day.
Get
£4.50 out of them.
Yeah, the £3.50 you get for them all.
I think I probably fucking still owe you for them. Stick them on the tab, so
why, darling. Right.
What do you got next?
I did think long and hard about this one, because not strictly speaking a horror movie. But of course, we're not doing horror movies. We're doing scary movies.
Damn Skippy.
And I would say, in terms of scary movies, this one is right up there with the best of them.
Go on.
And it is Ridley Scott's Alien.
Obviously,
the first and the most suspenseful of all of them, because it is so claustrophobic. They are on this ship. They're sent by the corporation to investigate this planet. The corporation know what they're going to find. They bring it back. Poor, your mate John Hurt.
My mate John Hurt,
gets the face hugger on him and gets the egg planted in his chest. And of course, everybody's very aware of the famous scene at the dinner table
where he pops out and dances off. Hello, my baby. Hello, my darling. Hello, my Valentine.
Indeed. Thank you, Mel Brooks. Yes. But yeah, after that, it is just so scary, so atmospheric, so suspenseful.
It's a haunted house in space.
Indeed, it is, and it's been copied so many times, with things like, the Dead Space games and various sci-fi space horrors. Oft-repeated, never bettered.
There you go.
But yeah, just a brilliant film, a stellar cast, and right to the very end, just jumps and scares aplenty. Watch that in the dark, and I guarantee you'll be screaming out loud.
2 things.
Go on.
Sigourney Weaver in her knickers.
Yes, indeed.
Brilliant. Another one of my favourite taglines.
In space, no one can hear you scream.
Which again is another one that's been, often imitated, isn't it?
Yes, and obviously has led to numerous sequels, both Aliens on their own, Aliens versus Predators, whatever you. But to me, this is still the best one because a
lot of people choose Aliens, don't they?
Well, I think we spoke about this in the very first episode of our previous podcast when we said which you prefer depends on what sort of film you like. Because Alien, as you said, is a haunted house in space.
Yep.
Whereas Aliens is a bit of a war film. It is action war.
It's a balls
and therefore,
war,
if you would rather watch an Arnold Schwarzenegger film than a John Carpenter film, then you're going to like Aliens. Whereas if it's the other way around, you're going to like Alien.
Indeed.
And so I would say Pooh score. I'll give that a nice loose and runny 4 again.
You really do need to see a doctor about this. But I'd agree with you on that. Yeah, it's definitely up there, isn't it?
Yep.
Right.
If you pardon the expression.
Oh. Right. I'm going to pop back to the year of my birth.
Oh.
1985.
You wish.
1976. If you said to most people, Damien,
Yeah.
what would be the first thing they would say? Anyone with a bloody brain, anyway.
The Omen.
The Omen, there you go. 1976. I have what is known as the Omen Pentology, which does it houses the original classic Omen film, and also as well the really, really fucking substandard sequels, which you shouldn't touch with a shitty stick.
Absolutely.
First one, it is a damn scary film. I've always found something very scary about children. Just full stop. Children are very scary. If you see an odd child, when you're out about shopping, you often see like a family, and there's always that one kid who's kind of looking at you as if he can see right through you and knows exactly what you're thinking, and that fucking petrifies me.
I tell you what, the other night, about a week and a half ago, I was fast asleep in bed, and then something stirred me, and I didn't know what it was. It's one of those things, you're in such a deep sleep, I don't actually know what it was.
Yeah.
I opened my eyes, and the first thing I saw was a child with sort of bedraggled hair all over their face, standing about 2 feet from my face.
Right.
And I nearly hit the fucking ceiling. It was the scariest thing I'd ever seen. It was my daughter who'd woken up because she'd had a bad dream, and what had actually woken me was her tapping me on the shoulder. But you're so used to demonic and scary looking children that just this sight of her with a hair over it, and I literally went, oh my god, and that of course made her jump and upset her even more, and it's
blimey.
But it's funny that just
for the record as well, your daughter is one of the most beautifully sweet, loving little children.
Yes.
I mean, both of your kids are obviously, but we're talking about Mila. But she's very far from the Antichrist, who is at the centre of the Omen. So the Omen basically surrounds some mysterious deaths that occur around an American ambassador, played brilliantly by Gregory Peck.
My mum's favourite.
Oh really?
I love Gregory Peck.
There we go. Could it be that his child is the Antichrist?
Oh my god.
Oh my god,
what
indeed.
do we think?
I think he fucking probably is.
Shave his head and find out.
Yeah, indeed. Well, you'll have to, because otherwise you're never going to find that little 666 that he's
Indeed.
got on him, eh? So yes, he is basically he's Satan's spawn, isn't he?
Yes.
He's the son of the devil.
Yep.
And it's got some amazing performances in it throughout, from Gregory Peck, Lee Remick, David Warner, who is just a classic of...
That's fantastic. Patrick Troughton.
But for me, it's Billy Whitelaw as
Yes.
Mrs. Baylock, who is just astonishingly good. I'm not going to give away the scene,
no,
but you know what scene I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Anyone who's listening, who's seen the film, you know what scene I'm talking about. Needless to say, she did it all for Damien.
Yes, I do it all for you, Damien.
Just
horrendous.
Just an absolutely petrifying film. Petrifying because it's not about big bright red demons and hellfire. It's a pretty pedestrian film, apart from the odd little goings on and and just the looks to camera by the brilliant child actor who played Damien, a little lad called Harvey Stevens. I mean, he would later on go on to be played by Alan Grant from Jurassic Park.
That was 3, wasn't it?
Yeah. I mean, Omen 2, not a terrible movie, I must admit, but it's not a patch on the original. But
he's at the Academy, isn't it?
Yes, that's exactly what it is. Yes. Which was ripped off by the Child's Play guys. They did that for Child's Play 2 or 3 as well. But it is an amazingly scary film. Another really, really solid 4 poos for me for that one. 4 poos on the poometer, because again, I remember seeing this when I was very young and just being fucking petrified. Mm-hmm. I think it's probably the reason why I don't like Rottweilers either. There we go.
Right, my next one is a great film by the horror director Neil Marshall called The Descent, which I have to say is one of those films that when I first watched it, my expectations of it were quite low, and I absolutely loved it and immediately bought it and have watched it many, many times since. And it basically tells the story of a group of female friends. Now, you start off with the main character played by Shauna MacDonald, and they just have sort of a whitewater rafting thing, and in a very shocking way a husband and daughter are killed in a horrific accident which we're privy to. And you then move forward several months. She's in a mental facility, obviously, suffering from shock, and her friends, who are all keen adventurers, decide that she needs to get away from it a bit, and they go to America and decide to go underground cave exploring in the Saskatchewan mountains.
Oh, well done.
And,
Do it again. Say it again. Go on.
Saskatchewan mountains.
Oh, that's awesomely pronounced.
Well done. But the trouble is, Juno, who's the one who's organised it, who's the only American in the bunch, tells them that they're going to a place that's been well explored, but it's actually a place that has never been explored, and she decides that she wants them to be the first one to find it, but she doesn't tell them this.
Oh, fucking well done, Juno.
Yes, so they're all going through this thing, and then they get trapped by a cave-in. And if you suffer from claustrophobia like I do, this one scene is absolutely horrendous. It is genuinely terrifying. Yeah. Even listening to the commentary when they're laughing, talking about how they did it, it's still very frightening. I mean, effectively, they were crawling through a bath of water underneath polystyrene. And yet, it still looks and feels terrifying.
Yeah, no, just horrible.
Yes,
horrible.
And so they get trapped in these caves, and then I won't ruin it too much, but it turns out that they're not down there alone.
Oh my giddy aunt!
There are these sort of humanoid, cannibalistic beings.
Killer spelunkers.
Indeed, just some genuinely horrific moments. Trapped in the dark, underground, with nothing to help you, no light, and just a very claustrophobic, scary film, and a really good ending as well. A really clever ending.
It's a great ending.
It's a great film. They mistakenly did a sequel, which they never should have done. The first film is more than enough.
The sequel was awful.
But yeah, a really good scare. So again, I know we keep going to it, but I'm going to say 4 poos on that one, because there are some really great moments in there.
And we're going to pick up right at the end of this as well, when we finished going through our list regarding the scores, because I'm going to give you an interesting fact at the end of it.
Okay.
All right. And also as well regarding The Descent, or The Decent as I used to refer to it, because I couldn't read properly because I was an alcoholic.
Nice.
I love the production name that it was given. You know, sometimes they give films production names. Do you know what the production name is? Chicks with Picks.
Hey,
I like that. Chicks with Picks. You're going to miss it. Okay, next up for me, sir, is something that you probably knew was going to come out of the bag, and that is the 1981 classic Evil Dead. The Evil Dead is pretty much, I think, one of the best Halloween type movies of all time. One of the best movies to sit and watch during Halloween, because you know how much I like just a story that's kind of, that's it, and at the end of it, you're done, sort of thing. Yeah, never mind the fact that it got 2 really, really, I think, great sequels out of this. This is the original and best. 5 friends travel to a cabin in the woods where they unknowingly release flesh-possessing demons. Or as we well know what they're called, the Deadites.
Indeed.
This is, I hate to use these words because I always think it sounds wanky when people say it, but this literally is a tour de force.
It is.
In movie making. And,
groundbreaking.
Groundbreaking. I mean, he gave us new ways to use cameras. He gave us, new ways to new ways to scare people. Obviously, it's massively evident as you watch this how much of a huge fan of the Three Stooges that Sam Raimi and Rob Tappert were, because you've got loads of little slapsticky moments, albeit covered in gore and goop and blurk. But also as well, if you ever take the time to look through the cast list, you'll see a lot of people are listed as fake Shemps. Now, Shemp was one of the Three Stooges, was he not? And this comes from a story where the Three Stooges, they used a fake person they used an alternate Shemp in a few of the episodes of the Three Stooges. But I digress anyway. The Evil Dead, as I say, is an absolute balls to the wall, amazingly disgusting, horrific, scary, and I think mostly believable story about demonic possession in a cabin in the woods.
But again, it is that whole isolation thing.
It is the isolation, and for me, the big selling point of Evil Dead is, of course, the amazing Bruce Campbell as Ashley Ash J. Williams. A great cast anyway, though. You've got Ellen Sandwich as Cheryl, Richard DeManicore as Scott. I had to say that, obviously, because I love the fact there's a character called Scott in it. And Betsy Baker as Linda, Teresa Tilly as Shelley, and they for a very, very small cast, they do a hell of a lot with a script. For a movie just set in a cabin, they do so much with it.
The whole thing from start to finish is very disturbing, isn't it?
Yeah.
That word more than any other represents the Evil Dead. It is just, it constantly, you never, horror films or scary films you can watch, and even though you're on edge, you kind of know where it's going. You know, it's sort of, you know, relatively formulaic. Forget it, no idea.
So have you ever had a film, did you ever have a film in your teens where, you know, you would never tell anyone this, and, you know, you might not even admit it now, but you were a little bit scared to watch? Because you felt, oh God, this is going to be really scary.
This is going to make me sound mental, but I had films that scared me so much that I didn't like to be in the same room as the VHS tapes.
I can completely and utterly, I dig on that immensely, because this was one of those. We had it again on VHS. It was a pirate copy, and it had a black and white cover, and I couldn't be in the same room as it.
Yeah.
At one point in my life, I couldn't be in the same room as a packet of cigarettes because I wouldn't, you know, because I was so against smoking. Obviously, you can see how that's changed.
Yes. How did that work out for you? Yeah.
Pretty well, buddy. I think I got the black lung. So that's Evil Dead anyway, 1981. Just watch it. It's bloody amazing.
Absolutely.
Bloody amazing.
Cool. Right, my last one, my fifth and final one, is a film, again, that was remade and sequelised, but the original and the first is definitely the best, and that is The Ring, or Ringu, as the Japanese version was called.
Was the drummer from the Beatles?
Yeah,
that's exactly what you did.
Yep. So, The Ring tells the story of a female journalist who hears the story of a videotape, this sort of secret videotape that apparently if you watch it within a few days you will die. And it starts off with her friend telling her that she watched it and being absolutely terrified, and after a couple of near misses, this woman does eventually die and is sort of found dead with a terrified look on her face, and this journalist starts to investigate this tape. And she has a young child who is quite central to the plot, but it's just her finding out that the tape does exist, its history, what's on it, who's on it, and why it causes the reaction that it does. It's a scary film, it's an odd film, but ends with just the most terrifying thing, or one of the most terrifying things I've ever seen on celluloid.
The most amazing bit of fourth wall breaking.
Indeed, which I won't ruin for anyone who hasn't seen it, but do. But I honestly wouldn't even turn the lights on, and definitely don't watch it on your own, because if you're sat there in front of a television watching this, you will genuinely be terrified. I would say it is an amazing piece of cinema. I mean, I do enjoy Japanese and Korean horrors. You know,
this was kind of the big jump off point, wasn't it? Really, for the like the J horror kind of explosion that we had in the West and in this country. Yeah. This was kind of what led the way into all those things like
this is
Ju-on and things like that.
Yes, the Grudge, as it was known, and also Audition as well, which is a nasty one.
Nasty.
But yeah, just for the scene at the end, I would say, throughout the film, it's a good solid 4 pooer. Yeah. But for the scene at the end, I would give that a 5. That is absolute top marks because it is horrendous.
I'll go for a
genuinely scary.
I'll go for a 5 poos, and like I can't stop weeing.
Indeed, it is very, very scary. So,
just as a little aside as well, very, very briefly, you may remember me talking about Matthew Ostler.
Yes.
Who obviously gets things wrong a fair bit. Bless him, I do love him. Their band, 3 DBs Down, actually wrote a song called Sadako, who is the character in The Ring. And I said to Matt once, that's about is that about the girl from The Ring? And he went, what? No? Don't think he's ever seen it. In fact, I know he's never seen it. How they ended up calling the song Sadako, I still don't know. But I don't think it's anything to do with The Ring. But bless him. Well done, Matt. Love you.
Oh. Right. What's your last one, sir?
My final one, sir. Again, this is one that you probably were expecting me to pull out the bag, and I would be wrong not to, because this, to me, is the movie for Halloween, okay? And it is the 1968 classic Night of the Living Dead.
Yep.
And it's in black and white, so anyone who doesn't like black and white movies...
You're an idiot.
You're a fucking idiot, okay? Isn't it sad that they do say a lot these days that, you know, kids of a certain age now, if they flick through a TV and see something black and white, they'll never stop on it.
Past it. Yep.
That's disgusting. That is disgusting. You should be fucking ashamed of yourselves. This is the...
I really don't think anybody's listened to this who would be put off by a black and white film, though.
No, but I hope there are some people listening. Night of the Living Dead was obviously by my favourite zombie director, George A. Romero. Not that he's a zombie director, he's a director of zombie films.
Zombie films, yes.
And this, it's such a a basic premise.
Yep.
You know, it can be summed up in one sentence. A group of people hide from bloodthirsty zombies in a farmhouse.
Yep.
That's it. That is it.
This was the first of the modern zombie films, wasn't it? Before, zombies were all very much voodoo driven.
Yeah.
Whereas this took zombies to a whole new level and established a genre that obviously, you know, all the way up to, you know, The Walking Dead still exists today, and the debt we owe to George A. Romero
and just this one film
is immeasurable.
Now, obviously, this is part of an original trilogy.
Yes.
Okay, so we had Night, Dawn, and Day.
Yep.
But then it did go on to spur off into Diary of the Dead and Survival of the Dead and Land of the Dead and such other movies, which I do love. They've all got their place. Yeah. But the original trilogy, you know, are the best. This is
which I have to say, Dawn is my favourite. I love Dawn.
Do you know what?
Dead.
Dawn is my favourite of the originals, but because
without this, there wouldn't have been.
Without a night, there is not a dawn. To sound wanky, and I know it does sound wanky, but the reason I've picked this as I think probably my favourite scary movie to watch over Halloween is just because of it feels very claustrophobic and it feels very real.
Yeah,
it feels very real for one reason.
You
feel trapped. Yeah, exactly. It feels very real for one main reason. You don't know why the zombies are there.
Absolutely.
It's never explained. You get a very brief little moment where you hear something about a comet of some sort happening, but that's not to say that's anything to do with why the zombie.
That's all rumour. You don't know.
And it's a brilliantly acted film. It's a brilliantly shot film.
Yeah.
It's just beautiful.
And because of this film, I will never let my daughter near a trowel.
No, definitely not.
Yes.
Definitely not. If it wasn't for this film, you wouldn't, as you said, you wouldn't have all this dearth of amazing zombie movies and zombie literature and zombie comics and such like. I mean, obviously Romero's done the series of comic books with Empire of the Dead, hasn't he? Which was brilliant as well. We'll talk about that another time. Poometer. This has got so much poo. This creates so much poo. I don't think it goes off the scale.
It's a sewage farm.
It is. Poometer, sewage farm. It is, to me, one of the scariest films of all time, I think, purely for the fact that I remember, and this is no word of a lie, the first time I saw this, it was Halloween. I was living still with my mother at the time, and it came on to the TV, and I had a little tiny black and white TV, which was fortunate because it is a black and white movie, and I remember it was up on the wardrobe, and I remember watching it and hiding under the covers and being absolutely petrified. This is the reason why I love horror movies.
Yep.
There you go. Right, sir. Anything else you'd like to add to that pantheon of exposition we've given to people?
No, I'm done. I'm spent.
Right, well, I'm going to give you one little final fact.
Cool.
Almost a Scott's final thought.
Oh.
Out of the 10 movies that we picked there, we all scored them solidly around between 3.5 and 5 poos, yeah?
Indeed.
Apart from, obviously, Night, which just went off the fucking chart, off the scale. Every single one of those movies, if you look on, IMDb, you'll see they are all scored above 7. So, we, sir, have fucking excellent taste in horror movies.
Nailed it.
Mate, Park, Ball, Gone, fucking awesome.
Excellent.
That was good. I enjoyed that, sir.
Yes.
Let's do that again, same time next year.
And please do try and watch one of those, or if you don't, watch a good scary movie, and happy Halloween to all of our listeners.
Yeah, but as Shaw Taylor would always say,
keep them peeled.
Wanker, who don't have nightmares? Never mind, that'll do.
Don't have nightmares with Nick Ross on Crime Watch.
That's even better that we got it wrong then. I said we because we're both in the room.
Yes, I accept partial responsibility for your idiocy. Right. That's all for this episode. So, for myself, Graham.
Myself, Scott.
Thanks very much for listening, and we'll see you next time.
Oh, I can't.